No one can replace Saka, but Nwaneri 17 gives Arsenal hope. No one can replace him. He is one of the best players in the world. Gabriel Martinelli's comments about Bukayo Saka are telling us just how much Arsenal depend on the England winger, how much they will miss him during the months he is absent because of a hamstring issue, and how all of Arsenal's front line must step up to replace him. That was the case in their 3-1 win over Brentford, where Arsenal came from behind thanks to goals from Gabriel Jesus and Martinelli, either side of Mikel Merino's close-range strike. But while Jesus and Martinelli scored, it was the third member of the front triumvirate, 17-year-old Ethan Nwaneri on his first Premier League start, who really impressed. Nwaneri, who made his Premier League debut as a 15-year-old at Brentford 2 years ago and has appeared 10 times as a sub in the league in 2024-25 before his start here, played key roles in Arsenal's 2 goals in 3 second-half minutes. His corner led to Merino's strike, before his uncleared cross was swept home by Martinelli for number 3. It meant Arteta had to revert to another new tactic, having flipped through plans when Saka has been absent this season. When Saka missed the 2-0 defeat at Bournemouth in August, Raheem Sterling played right wing. He was largely ineffective before being hooked on 37 minutes following William Saliba's red card, and amid injury issues of his own has become a peripheral figure this season. Martinelli started there and played 90 minutes during the 1-0 win over Ipswich, but is far more comfortable on the left, the position he reverted to at Brentford. And against Shakhtar Donetsk in the Champions League, Arteta completely changed shape with 2 strikers and Jesus wide. Nwaneri is a joy to watch. Against Brentford, however, Arteta deployed Nwaneri in the role Saka has perfected, cutting in as a left-footed right winger. And Arsenal looked far more coherent for it. In the first half, Nwaneri and Martinelli had the fewest touches of all outfield players, but the teenager impressed with what little ball he had. He was the only player to complete all of his passes in that opening period, 17 of 17. It was a test to see if he could step that up in the second half when Arsenal needed it. It was an exam that the college-age student passed with flying colors. He just makes me smile, TNT Sports pundit Karen Carney said of Nwaneri. He's brave, he's bold for someone who's so young as well. For a young man he was outstanding. He was positive and a joy to watch. I can't believe how young he is. He will be an absolute player for Arsenal. He's definitely going to get chances with Saka not available, added former Arsenal defender Martin Keown. It's all there under the bonnet waiting to come out. It's really important you have those players in the group demonstrating the quality coming out of the academy. Arteta has handled Nwaneri with kid gloves since giving him his debut, but felt this was the time and place to give him the biggest spotlight of his career so far. We had a 17-year-old in the starting lineup who did great, Arteta told his post-match media conference. I thought Ethan was the best player in that position to start the game. He also made his Premier League debut here. Sometimes a feeling like that can help. It is patience, managing frustration and expectation. We are building him. It would be foolish to say Nwaneri is yet a perfect replacement for Saka, but he is arguably the best Arsenal currently have in their squad. The touch maps of Saka in his final full Premier League match before injury, the goalless draw with Everton, and Nwaneri's against Brentford are very similar, suggesting the youngster fits most naturally into Arsenal's usual system. Meanwhile, Martinelli's against Ipswich, where he holds much closer to the byline as would be expected from a right-footed right winger, shows just how differently Arsenal are forced to play with him in that role. In that game, the Brazilian failed to have a shot or create a chance for a teammate, and no other Gunners player who lasted the full 90 minutes had fewer touches of the ball. Back in his more familiar role on the left against the Bees, Martinelli had 4 shots, created 4 chances and for the second time in 3 games scored. Jesus hits purple patch at right time. While Nwaneri impressed out wide against Brentford, Jesus continues to thrive down the middle. Before Saka went off against Crystal Palace, Jesus had 1 goal in 20 appearances. Since then Jesus has 6 and 4, as many as in his previous 48 games. A remarkable 23% of his goals for the club have come in the past 2 weeks. Whether freed up by Saka's absence or stepping up to shoulder his share of responsibility, it has been an extraordinary, timely and welcome transformation. It is a quality of the team to share the goals, said Arteta. They, Jesus and Martinelli, are so consistent in the way they train and behave. Fans have been clamoring for Arsenal to sign an attacker in January, and the calls have gained volume since Saka's injury. Whether they enter the market remains to be seen. They cannot sign anyone on loan, as Sterling and backup keeper Neto fill their 2 temporary slots from top-flight clubs. And without arguably their biggest star, it will be a tricky ask to stay in touch with leaders Liverpool until Saka returns, potentially as late as March. But with impressive resolve from the players to fill the gap left by their injured comrade, and with a starry young talent growing his reputation still further, there are more than a few sparks of hope.